That's a wonderful question. Did everybody hear that? As I'm writing the series, did I feel like I had my own dark passenger? Without getting into, really dark Ouija board mysticism, I think everybody does have a very small, wicked voice. Do you remember the old cartoons where the angel's on one shoulder and the devil's on the other? Everybody's got that to some extent. And the devil, of course, is the dark passenger. And that voice comes at you sometimes. But most of the time, I think most of us are able to go, pee-pee on you and, listen to the angel instead. And I hope that's what I do. I try to. So if I do have my own dark passenger, he's very, very small. There's one over here in the front row. Do you need a microphone or can you shout? Yes. Yes. I grew up in Miami. That's where I met my wife when she was like 2 years old and really annoying. And I watched it. A lot of people around the world even have said Miami's kind of a character in the Dexter books. And it's because I have a love-hate relationship with the city. I love it because it's my home, and I hate it because it's not my home anymore. It's become kind of a gigantic polyglot city where, the Mariel boat lift changed everything. I mean, you take any medium-sized city and dump 250,000 criminals, perverts, thieves, rapists, and insane people, and right into the middle of the city's going to change, and that's what happened to Miami. And yes, some of the people from Mariel boat lift were political prisoners, and I'm glad that they got out. But it's still one of the most brilliant and awful things anyone has ever done to us when Fidel cleared his jails out and dumped them in Miami. It's a huge problem that hasn't ended yet. Did that answer the question? Wow, I'm doing something right today. Yeah, back there. I can't hear you. Is that on? Yes.
Did you find it took quite a while to develop that skill of reading, like
No, because of my past experience doing a lot of voice recording, it wasn't that part wasn't hard at all. The two hard parts were getting back into the rhythm and flow of the book as it had been written, because I'd forgotten it by then. And because the books usually take 4 days to record, trying to remember what voices I'd used for the characters the day before was sometimes hard. By the way, when I say 4 days, I'm almost a one-take guy. And I brag about this because that's what I did for a while. I did, voiceovers and stuff, and I'm proud of it. And also because it's an introduction to another quick, hilarious story. A good friend of mine, who has maybe the best vocal range of anybody since Mel Blanc, got a chance to record a commercial with his hero, Mel Blanc. This was right before he died, of course, not after, because it's much... So he's in the studio, and they go, ready, and take one. Mel Blanc also prides himself on being a one-take guy, by the way. And Mel Blanc goes into all over, and my friend Chuck is waiting, and he's looking over at Mel Blanc's script, and clots of blood are coming out and hitting the page as he's going. No one knew this at the time, but he was dying of, I think, throat cancer. And so Mel finishes his part and looks at Chuck. And Chuck goes, Mr. Blanc, are you okay? And Mel Blanc said, no, kid, I'm dying of cancer. And now I gotta do a second take. Raising your hand or patting your head? Yes.
You have such a great sense of humor. Have you ever thought about writing a comedy novel?
I did. Dexter in the Dark.
Okay, the title is a comedy novel.
One of the things I feel that has always set the books apart was that they're kind of funny too. I find that if you really have the curse of comedy, it's hard to turn off, sometimes impossible. Which is why I came to this theory. I'm really serious about this. People who are funny say horrible things at inappropriate times because they're funny. And if it's really inappropriate, you go, asshole, what are you doing? But they can't help it. And so, as I said, I have this theory. Comedy is a form of Tourette's. And even when I'm writing something as dark as Dexter, there's funny stuff in it. So I did have to quit comedy, but as a stand-up, but that's a different. Yes, ma'am.
Did you have educational background to learn how to write, or did you just pick it up and do it?
You don't just pick it up and do it. Even if you don't have the background, you have to read and read and write and write over and over and over. A very wise man, it was only coincidentally my father-in-law, said the first million words don't count. And so you do have to. And even the people who are 19 years old and, oh yeah, my first book's a bestseller. It can happen, sure, but you've got to study. You've got to, the theory of 10,000 hours? I don't remember who said it. It was somebody probably French. Great Raymond Chandler line. The French have a saying for everything, and the bastards are always right. But the theory is, to get good at anything, it takes 10,000 hours of practice, and it's true of writing too. So I did have a background. I had a bachelor's degree in creative writing and a graduate degree in dramatic writing, but I also had like 10 or 15,000 hours of practice. Over here, anyone? I thought, picking your nose, that's something.
Because anywhere from 5 seconds to 5 minutes, funny fact, that's my job
Put that thing away. No, you didn't count the first part of the face. It was actually 6 seconds. Yes, ma'am, back here.
I would say that you're a very inspiring author for most people in this room, and I was wondering what authors inspire you?
I'm not sure about inspire. Nothing I ever read made me go, wow, I want to be just like this person and be a writer. It was just something, the first thing I published was when I was 6 years old. I had a couple of poems published in a big hardcover anthology of children's poetry. So I was already writing then. It's just, I tried not to write most of my life. I tried to despire myself, or expire, oh no. But there are a lot of writers I admire. And in fact, parenthetically, recently I realized I hadn't been reading for pleasure anymore. It was just research, and it was boring the crap out of me. And I thought, how sad is it that I'm not playing music and I'm not reading for pleasure? So I went back to the beginning, and the first writer that I became addicted to was Edgar Rice Burroughs. And I started rereading him, and it worked. It took off again, and I read a couple hours a day for pleasure again. I also, parenthetically, first I have to close that parenthesis. Okay, new parentheses. I kind of came to believe that I have an Edgar Rice Burroughs complex myself. Because for those who don't know, Edgar Rice Burroughs created Tarzan. And you can go anywhere in the world and go, Tarzan, and someone will go, ah! But you go anywhere in the world and say, Edgar Rice Burroughs, and they'll go. So it's the same with me, really. Dexter, yay! Jeff Lindsay. So, see, that was like a bonus answer to a question you didn't even ask. Back here, yes.
Hi, I want to know, how do you get in the mood and the zone for writing your Dexter novels, since they are a bit dark?
First tell me how you made your voice come from over here. How do I get in the mood? Well, usually it's easy. When it's not, I go in and open the checkbook and look at the balance, and then I'm really in the mood. On the whole, it becomes your job. It's I kind of write like an actor. I get into character. And because I've been doing the character for so long, it's not that hard anymore. Originally, I had to work a lot harder at it and rewrite and start things over and go, no, this is funny, but it's not Dexter. And by book 2 or 3, it was automatic. I just, like, Om Mani Padme Hum, now I'm Dexter, and I could start. So did that answer your question? Okay. No bonus answer, I'm sorry. Anyone else? I think we have time for like 1 or 2 more. Yes. How long does it take to write the books, and how long does it take to edit them? Well, surprisingly, considering what I said about it before, Dexter's Delicious took about 4 weeks to write. And I get up every morning at 2:30 and write with a smile on my face and, churn out pages and finish the day happy. It was just the most fun book of them all to write. It shouldn't have been. Maybe it was a reaction to The Cannibal Girl. I don't know. Dexter in the Dark took 1.5 years to write because I was trying to do things the editor wanted me to do and I didn't feel they were right and I couldn't do them. So the answer is somewhere between a month and 2 years. Editing the books, they don't really edit anymore. And so there's no reason why they put me on a 1 book every 2 years schedule now, except possibly they want to ruin me financially. But it goes back and forth. I have just a couple of weeks ago sent back what they call first pass typeset pages, which a few weeks before that was final nut typeset pages, and before that it was once or twice revisions with the editor. So the process can vary depending on the editor and the writer and a lot of other things, but it usually takes 3 or 4 or 5 months to edit the book. Yes, ma'am. No, they tell me I can write as many books as I want, and I did. They just won't publish them. And it's an exclusive contract, so I can't publish anything else with anybody until they publish them. And I told them this was a bad idea, and they laughed at me, so. My conclusion after dealing with this publisher for 10 years now, I keep coming back to this. There's a wonderful book about screenwriting by William Goldman called Adventures in the Screen Trade. And the first sentence is, here's the real truth about Hollywood, nobody ever knows anything. And it's true in publishing, and my corollary to that is, nothing is ever about what it's about. So you think it's a marketing reason, but then you realize marketing has no idea what they're doing, and they're just making it every 2 years because someone suggested it in a meeting, and then the editor says, no, it was not editorial, it was corporate. And then at a certain point you realize they don't really want to sell books and make money, they just want to have more meetings. So there are no answers that satisfy me on this. I think we have time for 1 more question, if it's not too long. Anything? Okay, head scratching, sorry. Nose big. Yes?
Where did you get your ideas for the different shows? Like some were very dark, some were, were your top friends helping you with this? Or?
I didn't do any of the shows. I just do the books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you want your money back, don't you? If it's any comfort to you, I'm a lot funnier than Michael C. Yes? No, it was real. Which scene was it? Yes. She's referring to, which one? What's the name of it? About the art? Dexter? Dexter by Design, thank you. I grew up in a series of art galleries. And I had known about these performance artists who do bizarre things to themselves, cut off small pieces and photograph each one. A very famous one is a man who photographed a friend shooting him. All kinds of stuff like this. So I just thought, what would it take to horrify Dexter? And it was the performance artist. Now in this one, Dexter by Design opens with them seeing the results of a performance piece in a gallery in Paris on Dexter and Rita's honeymoon. And it's called Jennifer's Leg. And the performance piece is that she cuts off a piece of her leg with a power saw, one piece at a time. And the photographs, it's a video loop posted all around with different sections of the leg being cut off. And at the climax of the scene, the woman comes in on a pair of crutches to confront the audience. So, like most of the crazy stuff I write, this is not really far-fetched at all. This is just 21st century performance art. It's happening. Things like that crazy are happening. Okay, I think we're out of time. I have one last thing to say that's incredibly profound, which is that when I was studying theater, in the Chinese theater, they have a wonderful tradition, which is at the end of a performance, the players come to the edge of the stage and applaud the audience, because they know without the audience, there's no show. So thank you.